Yeah, welcome back to my channel. Here in this video, we'll be looking at what we call tonic triad. So what is tonic triad? Why tonic triad? What is it all about? So let's break it down. Let's start from the first note. Tonic. Tonic actually means the first note of a scale. Any type of scale. We have different type of scale in music, but here we are looking at what major scales. Okay, so in the scale of C major, C is the what? First note. Therefore, C is a tonic. The first. Okay. In the scale of G major, G is the first. Therefore, G is the tonic. In the scale of D major, D is the first. So, therefore, D is the what? The tonic. And so on like that. That is tonic. Tonic means the first note or the first degree of a scale. Now let's look at the other guys. Triad. What is triad? Triad is actually a group of three notes built in thirds. A collection of three notes built in third. When we say notes are built in third, it means if I start from, if I want to build the triad of C, I've picked C, I skip the next guy, then I go what? To E, because E is the third of C. So built in third. So we have C, E. Then what is the third of E? The third of E is G. Do you understand? So triad are built in third is a group of three notes. I can see at times students would say triads is a group of the first three notes. No. Triad means the first note, the third note, and the fifth note in a scale. But here we are dealing with major scales. All right. Therefore, if we have to put the two words together, tonic triad. What is tonic triad? So tonic triad is the first triad in a scale. Tonic triad means the first triad in a scale, because in a scale here we can have 7 triads. We can have the word triad whereby C is the first. We can build our triad from C. We can build the second triad from D. So if you want to build the triad from D, it's going to be D. The third of D is what? F. And the third of F is A. So if you continue like that, we're going to have 7 triads. So in all the 7 triads, the tonic triad is what we are dealing with here. So we call it tonic triad, the first triad of every major scale. Let's talk about the formula for building triad. We have the root, the third, and the fifth. The root is the what? The tonic. So we say the root, in this case, let's call this C. C is the root here. The third, which is what? E. Then the fifth, which is what? G. So you can see the root note, which is the same thing as the tonic. The third and the fifth of the root. The third of the root, the fifth of the root. This is the formula we use to build our triads. So with this, over here, we can see in the scale of C major, scale of C major is a natural key. Why? Because it doesn't have any sharp or flat. And it's the only key in music without sharp or flat. But if you look at G, G has 1 sharp. D has 2 sharps. A has 3 sharps. Let's stop there. We have it up to 7. All right. But let's stop here. Then F has 1 flat. Over here on the 4th note, B flat. Then B flat has 2. Then E flat has 3. Okay. So we are dealing with keys with up to 3 sharps and what? 4 flat, 3 sharps, up to 3 sharps, and up to what? 3 flats. Then the natural one, no sharp, no flat. So this is what we are using for this video. All right. Now, if we were to write the tonic triad for C major using the formula, we have C, E, G. Why? Because C is the first, the third, then here the fifth. Do you get that? So when we have it like this, it is called major triad. It is called what? Major triad. Because the three notes are from what? Major scales. I hope you understand that. The tonic triad here is also called major triad. So we can always say that this formula is the formula for major triad. The root, the third, and the fifth. Then let's move to G major. G major has one sharp at where? At F. It's very, very important for us to understand that. So what is the tonic triad here? The first note, the third, and what? The fifth. So here we have G, B, D. G, B, D. For this guy here, for G major. Then for D major, it is the first note, the third again, and the fifth. So what are the letters here? We have D, F sharp, and A for D major. D, F sharp, A. The root, the third, and the fifth for D major. The same ideas for others. So when you understand this, the next thing is to transfer these letters to the staff. Okay? To transfer these guys now. The C, E, G, the G, B, D, the D, F sharp, A to the staff. So when we write this on the staff, for the purpose of teaching, we are using this guy here, the note called semi-brief. We're using semi-brief to represent these letters on the what? And the staff. So how do we write this? The tonic triad for C major. The tonic triad for C major, which is C, E, G. How do we represent that on the staff? Now we locate where we have these letters in the staff. We will locate where we have C. Where do we have letter C in the staff? We can have letter C over here in this space, third space. We also have letter C on this ledger line. So you can start what? The triad from any point. Okay, from any point from the staff. So here I have, if I do this, this is my C. C is done. The next guy is my E. Where is E? E is on the first line of treble staff. And where is our fifth? What? The second line of the staff. So we have C, E, G. Then we call it what? C major triad. Letter C. Major. M-A-J for major. Do you understand that? So this is C, E, G. Let's check the next one. G, B, D. How do we write G, B, D on the staff? G. Where do we have G? Okay, before we go to that, let's go back to the C. I can decide, you can also decide to write for C major, you can also decide to start from here because this space, the third space of our C major is also letter C. So I can equally do that there. C, then E, the fourth space, E, then the space here, C, E, G. Okay, you don't have to put the two together. It's either you take this or you take this. Both are what? Are correct. Do you understand? Now let's go to the next guy, to G major. Now don't forget that the scale of G major has one sharp at where? At F. So we need to represent that on the staff if you have to do for G major. Therefore, for G major, I'm writing my staff, my clef again. For G major, this guy have to be represented on the fifth line. Why am I putting that on the fifth line? Because this F is the what? The fifth line of the staff. Okay. Now, where is our G in the staff? Our G is what? On the second line. So here, my G goes here, second line. Then my B, where is B? B is the third line. And where is D? 5. It's as simple as ABC. So these letters, we have transferred this on the staff. G, B, D. With the key to represent what? G major. This guy, this sign must represent this. All right. Let's look at the next one. Let's look at the next one, which is G major, which is D major. Now D major has two sharps at where? F and C. F and C. So we have to represent that on the staff. Where is our F? Our F is always line 5. Always line 5. I put the first sharp there to represent F sharp. And the second one is the C. So where is C on the treble staff? The C is the what? The third space. So I put the sharp there. So with this sign, we know we are dealing with D major. D major has two sharps at where? F and C. So these are the two sharps, line F and space C, to represent D major. So we have shown the symbol to represent this key is on D major, because we have what? Put these two guys here, the sharp. Remember, the symbol for G major is one sharp. That is why we have one sharp here. But for C major, there is nothing there. It doesn't have sharp, neither does it have flat. That is why it is called a natural scale. Okay, but for G, it has one sharp. That is why it's written on the fifth line. D has two sharps. We have the two sharp, the fifth line, and the what? The third space. Now, let's now what? Represent the notes, the triad now. So where is D in the lines and spaces? We have our D down here. Don't forget, this line here is line C. Alphabetically, if this line is C, then before the space before this line, before the first line, is going to be D. So this, we have our D here now. D, F sharp, A. In case you are wondering, why didn't I put the sharp here? All right, no, we don't need to put the sharp here again, because the sharp has been represented here. If we put the sharp here, it will mean something totally different. Why? Because the sharp has been represented here as a key signature. So we don't need to put it here anymore. Then if I'm to put the sharp here, that means these two guys will not even appear here. Do you understand? These two sharps will not be present here if I'm supposed to write my sharp here. So since these two guys have been what? Represented here, we don't need to write any what? F sharp there. Just leave it there. See it like this, it is F sharp. It is F sharp the way it is like this, because the sharp has been represented up here. Do you understand? So we can go all along like that to understand our what? Major scale. So here is G major. Here is D. Here is D major. Easy peasy. Now let's move to the keys with flats. And the first key with one flat is what? F major. F major has one on the fourth note, so we call it B flat. So if I'm to write the tonic triad, which is also called the major triad, for F major, the first thing is to represent this on the staff. B flat, I have to represent this B flat on the staff. B is the third note of the staff. So on the third line, we have to write our what? B flat, our flat. So when this is done, this is now representing the scale of F major. Okay, F major. So where do we have the first note? So the triad is what? F, the third A, and C. F A C. All right, F A C. So for us to represent F A C, where is F on the treble staff? That was space 1. Then where is A? Space 3. Sorry, space 2. And where is C? Space 3. So F A C. So this represents F major. F major. Okay. And one thing about triads that you should understand when representing them on the staff is when the tonic of your triad, you can see the word tonic and root, see the way I'm using them interchangeably. All right. So when the tonic of your triad is on a line, the other members will be on the next lines. So we have line, line, line. And when the tonic is in the space, the others will be in what? In the next two spaces. So it's going to be space, space, space. Therefore, writing triads on the staff is either line, 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 or space, space, space. Isn't that interesting? All right. So this for F major. So if you are to write the one for B flat, B flat major has two flats. Where are the two flats? B flat and E flat. Again, what is the first flat we can never come across in music? Is B. So which is always the third line. The third line. The second line, the second flat is what? The second flat is this guy here, E flat. So where is letter E? We have letter E on the first line. We also have letter E in the space 4. But this space 4, it is what is always recommended to use. Don't use line 1, please. So we put the second flat there. So whenever we come across something like this is music, it represents the scale of what? B flat major. Why? Because B flat major has two flats, B and E, and they're being represented here. The third line is B, and the fourth space is E, so BE. So what do we now do? We want to write the triad now. B, line 3 is always our B, so line, line, and line. So this is B flat major. It's as simple as that. Okay. Now the next one I want to talk about is now the minor triad. Minor triad. When you have good understanding of your major triad, you don't have problem with minor triad. The last part of this video is to talk about minor triad. We've explained major triad, the formula for major triad, and the word minor is what? The opposite of major. And one thing is that the major and the minor, they are very close, just one little difference between them. So if you understand your major, then you shouldn't struggle understanding the minor. Again, the formula for major is the root, the third, and the fifth. Okay, this is for what? For the major. But for minor, we still have the root, we still have the fifth guy, but the third guy is a problem here. So the third guy is lowered. And to lower a note, it means what? To flatten the note, to put a flat on the note. So we say flat third. Some people say flat 3. Okay. For instance, if C major is C, E, G, then C minor will be what? C, E flat, and G. You can see the difference here is what? The third guys. What does that mean? That when the third note of a major is lowered, it becomes minor. It's as simple as that. So let's have them written here. So on my table, on this table, I have the major by my left. I have the major triads here. Okay, these are the major triads. Then the minor triad will be here will be what? C, E flat, G for C minor. For G minor is G, B flat, D. For D minor, we have D, F, A. Why? Why don't we have flat here on F? Because in the major, the F already has a sharp. So when you are to lower a note that carries a sharp, just take away the sharp. When the sharp is taken away, you have what? Lower the note. Okay? So we have D, F, A as our D minor. Then the same thing here for A major. A major is A, C sharp, E. Therefore, A minor is A, C, E. Okay? Then for F major is F, A, C. Then F minor, F, A flat, C. Then for this, for B flat is B flat, D, F. Therefore, B flat minor will be B flat, D flat, and F. You can tell me the answer to the last one in the comment section. Okay, so when you have good understanding, everything put together, we must have the good understanding of our major scale. From there, we brought out what? The major triads or the tonic triads. Then from the major triads, when the third note of the major triad is lowered, we have what? The minor triad. So how do you represent this on the staff? The same thing. Okay, the same thing. Let me just what do for C major. Let me represent C major on the staff. Let me represent C major on the staff. Let me take this away. C major on the staff versus C minor on the staff. Okay, let me quickly. My staff, line 5, line 4, line 3, line 2, and line 1. My staff, my clef, treble clef. So let me write C major again, C, E, G. That is C major. So how do I write my C minor? I still have my C, then my E, a flat, then my G. Please also remember, when writing sharps and flats on the staff for some note, they have to come before the note, not after the note. They have to come. That's why the flat is coming here. But if you are writing them in letters, the flat can come before, like in this case, F sharp, the sharp comes after. But when representing them in the note, please don't forget, they have to come before the note. So this is C minor. So you do the same thing for others. It's as simple as that. Okay, I wish you the best of luck. If you still have questions, do not hesitate to drop them in the comment section. Thank you.